Welcome back to Relatively Conscious. My name is Twins Brown.
Irvin Bryant.
Shout out to the DJ for making our beat.
At DW Made That on social media.
Follow us on social media.
At Kinda Woke on Instagram and Twitter. Relatively Conscious everywhere else. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, retweet. And what are we talking about?
We're talking about classic albums of the 2010s, right?
Why that time?
So this could be
old. Old man.
Well, this could be a series. The 2010s is the last decade, basically. And so I wanted to go back. I saw a TikTok, which I'll put in the show notes or whatever, where he's talking about how certain rappers don't have any classic albums. These are rappers like Drake, J. Cole, who really blew up in the last decade. And so I was like, well, what are the classic albums of the last decade? Fantano does a lot of stuff. Anthony Fantano does Needle Drop. He does a lot of 10 out of 10s album compilation lists, right? So I want to kind of go over and our criteria. What is the best albums of the 2010s, the last decade, basically. But first, let me ask a question, Urban. To you, what makes a classic album?
Wow. Okay, it's real simple. I'm basic. Is it good?
Okay.
And then, does it stay good over time? Now, for this context, I'll say there's a popularity threshold. For me, there's a lot of personal classics. There's a lot of stuff that I just love. I would consider Little Brothers, The Minstrel Show, a classic. Childish Gambino's mixtape, Royalty, a classic. People don't know what I'm talking about when I reference those. It's okay. I know it's not a wider classic; it's my classic. But for wider consumption, a level of popularity where it was good, everybody liked it, and then let's say 10 years later, right, as we are in a new decade, you put it on and everybody like, oh, that's the jam, and then we still bringing back the lyrics.
Yeah, for me, I have a weirder threshold. My threshold is, can I not tell the story of hip hop without this album? So if I'm talking about the story of hip hop, is it a criteria for me to mention this album? Right. So we're telling the story of hip hop from the 90s. I got to mention The Chronic. I got to mention Snoop Doggy Dogg Style. I got to mention almost all Tupac's albums. Probably his first one, Tupac was not, probably cannot mention. But then I got to mention.
How could you miss To Apocalypse Now?
I think I probably could skip it and then talk about Ice Cube's album from that time, America KKK.
Yeah, America Because Most Wanted.
Yeah, that would cover the anger out of LA. But then when I talk about Dear Mama album and then the one after that, All Eyes on Me, I gotta mention those, right? Both Biggie albums gotta get mentioned. The question is, you gotta mention Tribe Called Quest, the first two albums. I don't know if you gotta mention the Criminal though. I think you have to mention the Criminal. I think you probably mentioned.
No, wait. Yeah. Anyway, it's getting too granular because it's like, does it matter for the region? Does it matter for the world? I think Outkast was pretty big by Equimini. Like Rosa Parks was a thing, and they got sued by Rosa Parks. That's on Equimini. Yeah. So it's pretty big splash at that point. But I see what you're saying. You got to mention it in the storyline.
Yeah. A hot take for me is DMX. Like his albums, does he have a classic album? It was a really hard thing to spurse out because he had 4 albums in 1 year that all went #1 and all went platinum. And so DMX is a person you have to mention, but like which album you choose to be the one you talk about.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Yeah, I think that's the one you talk about. Yeah. And then of course you got Jay-Z's first album.
Yep.
It comes out in 98. And I'm like, we could probably just talk about DMX and skip over Reasonable Doubt in 98.
Or I mean, there's a lot of other New York rap or East Coast rap that you jump to Blueprint when you want to start talking Jay.
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah, and so that's just basically where I say is a classic album. So if we're gonna talk about the 2010s. The first thing I think we have to do sort of quickly, is what is the story of hip hop in the 2010s? If I just go bird's eye view, what's the story of hip hop in the 2010s?
Got to start with Wayne. King. And as he passes the torch to a young Drake, as he patches the torch, it's a lot of torch passing, like literally like artists collaborating and putting the other guy on, which is really nice. But yeah, Wayne to Drake to Kendrick to Cole. Maybe not in that exact order, but you know,
Mhm.
ascending. Lots of snapbacks and tattoos. I know you remember that one.
Yes, yes.
We still doing lots of dancing. We still, you know, you're a jerk and all that goofy stuff. Whipping nene, all that kind of thing. Colorful tight jeans. And then
Yeah.
we like progress into the trap era. So like there's that, there are those artists that are like passing torches to each other that are rather like lyrical but still very popular, like
Yeah.
rhyme, dance, really complex. And then there's like the counterbalance to that, that's like Waka, or Jeezy to Waka to Future to Thug, you know. So like
Migos.
out of crunk, out of like the more hype into the more like leaned out trap,
Yeah.
you know, sounds 2015. And then it's a pretty straight line into where we at now, you know. Yeah, pretty fun stuff.
So the way I put it is that first thing, yeah, Lil Wayne passes the baton to Drake, and Drake becomes probably the first rap pop star. I think Drake is probably actually the L Cool J would be mad about
The disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say though, I think Drake is a level above L Cool J.
Of course.
When it comes to,
But it was never, which Drake is actually pretty humble and realistic about
yeah,
like few things, but about his stardom, and he likes to, you know, pay homage. And yeah, so it was impossible. Like maybe in Will. So it's like LL, you know, Fresh Prince / Will Smith,
yeah,
and then like the next highest achiever in that way, who's not like making the parents riot, right?
Yeah.
Is Drake. He's pretty inoffensive in that way, despite being able to cuss and talk about drugs and all that, you know.
Yeah. At some point in the 2000s, maybe Kanye was a pop star.
He was the guy. Let me stop. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was also controversial in the same way though. He was getting in trouble for saying President Bush doesn't care about black people, you know.
He was like maybe I think 2 albums in, and
Yeah.
he was that guy. And
Yeah.
then he started, you know, letting the Kanye out.
Yeah. New label rappers coming to their own. So like Kendrick, J. Cole, ASAP, Wiz, Big Sean. One thing you will find in this new era is that the biggest label rappers probably all started mixtaping YouTube and SoundCloud. Like J. Cole's Friday Night Lights, I found on an illegal download site. You could download songs on your phone, and I found Friday Night Lights by J. Cole, or what's the one that ADHD's off of by Kendrick Lamar? His first album.
Section 80.
Yeah, Section 80.
I've never met a person who has a clear grasp of whether or not Section 80 is a mixtape or an album.
Yeah.
That's like a conversation I have with every Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Mixtape era, maybe even like I don't even know how relevant mixtapes are. So I think we were like honestly at peak mixtape era around the early 2010s, early teens.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's peak accessibility, right? So a mixtape can do the most walking and it's ever done because you can just get it off the internet. You know, all the dedications, the drought, you know, all the Wayne tapes.
No ceilings.
Right. But now that streaming made the whole internet hustle a legal monetizable thing, that era is kind of over. So that's a unique portion of it.
One thing I would say is that I don't think of Kendrick, J. Cole, and ASAP as SoundCloud rappers, but I have a list of the era of SoundCloud rappers. I have like Chance, Meek Mill, Joey B, Tyler Creator being a YouTube rapper, which is, you know,
he don't do that. He didn't blow up off a YouTube video, but that's pretty cruel.
Yeah, but I mean, not to say that
he didn't drop tapes like that. They dropped albums.
But the way I think of him as is I conceptualize him as a YouTube rapper, like a rapper I found off of gross. YouTube. Yeah,
that's gross, man. I've never conceived of him that way, honestly.
Yeah, Little Uzi is a SoundCloud rapper. He's towards the end.
Absolutely.
Towards the end of SoundCloud.
All the
rapping.
Lils.
Yeah.
Lil Uzi, Lil Yachty.
Yeah.
It goes on.
Triple X, Juice WRLD, and Gambino and Travis Scott both being mixtape / SoundCloud rappers. Then I have the next portion that women rappers begin to hold their own in the rap game, like for real.
In the late teens,
in the late teens, because we had Little Kims, we had Foxy Browns, you know, we had Missy Elliott's. Missy probably being the most successful out of those, but none of them really had a long arc stretch, you know, like the women have now, basically, where you can see a
Not
future
even.
for them. Yeah,
It's a whole new world. It's
yeah.
pretty amazing.
And Missy probably being the most.
Shout out Nikki.
Yeah,
Missy Elliott. You know, she's pretty top 5
yeah,
of women in rap, but it's very clear whose children this generation of female rappers is, and it's you know, it's Nicki's kids.
yeah. I have Nicki. I have Beyonce on here with the question mark because she starts like rapping in the 2010s. She goes from only R&B Beyonce and pop star Beyonce to she starts rapping. She releases Beyonce, and then she releases Lemonade, both albums that have a lot of rap in it, and then the Carters towards the end, the back end of it. So Nicki, Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, No Name, and Rhapsody, basically the really beginning of women getting into the rap game. Now there's way more. There's a lot of what's the name?
Glorilla.
Gorilla, yeah,
Yep,
and then of course Cardi B,
Yeah.
who really starts off in 2018. That's her really big year, but I think it's really the 2020s that she really like takes off, right?
Yeah.
The two other things I have: Kanye goes crazy, but makes amazing music, right? So the 2010s we saw Kanye lose his mind,
Yep.
but release some amazing albums, right? It's ridiculous. We want to touch on that portion of it. The kickback scene. So when I was at PV, the kickback scene was Migos, 21 Savage, Future, Playboy Cardi. I think has to get mentioned here. He had two albums that are really big. Yeah. 2 Chainz and a Young Thug, who won't be making an album anytime soon. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Rap goes political. That also happened in the 2010s. Became cool again to talk about politics and rap, right?
Black Lives Matter. Shake the game up.
Yeah. I think Kendrick does it the best, but there are a lot of No Name has to be part mentioned in this portion of it also. Any other rappers you think? Because I was talking about rap goes political, but I was like, how many rappers actually did that well besides Kendrick and No Name?
There's now that you're asking me, I'm drawing a blank, but like it's crazy because I think this generation does actually a pretty good job. Where like in the kind of like in the 90s, we like the golden era. A lot of dudes, you mentioned Tribe earlier, we're like, okay, we want to be like socially conscious and have like a positive impact.
Yeah.
But they're also like not taking themselves seriously. They're like really just having a lot of fun and doing goofy stuff. And I think it happens here, except like these rappers are not, it's not the 90s. So dudes aren't doing goofy stuff as much. But like everybody's like either got a song or a few bars or something that they want to be of substance to give to their audience, which is pretty nice. Even though you may be selling drugs in the next song, one of the songs in the track list is talking about how it's a tragedy, et cetera, et cetera. A couple bars here and there, which is what I like to refer to as like a Tupac kind of consciousness. Yeah, it's like I'm very conscious of the plight and I want to shed a light on that. At the same time, it's thug life, so anybody can get it. I'll slay my own brother. I don't care.
Yeah,
Freddie Gibbs is really good at that. I love that about him.
And then streaming makes rap songs shorter. This is when we really begin to see rap songs come to like 2 minutes tops. And Twitter and social media makes rappers more accessible, right? And also you can blow up off of being a Twitter personality. Like I guess Lil Nas X would be a good example of this. This is like the end, the right at the end of the 2010s. Lil Nas X basically makes the most popular song of all time, if you by the numbers, and does it by being basically a Twitter personality. It still is one to today. Yeah, a meme. Yeah. So let's argue real quick. Let's get into the nitty gritty. First up, are any of Drake's albums classics? Nothing Was the Same. I have If You're Reading This Is Too Late and Take Care. Are those albums a classic?
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna say off top. When it comes to internet discourse about classics, dudes like to lean really heavily on like sampling and boom bap sounds. Because that's like of the golden era. That is the classic sound. That's like quintessential hip hop. That's nonsense. As far as like, according to my criteria, like any songs from those 3 albums, it's still gonna go. Like right now, it's gonna go. It doesn't matter. Headlines, dude. I'm rapping. I don't like Drake. I don't listen to Take Care. I literally never except for when they first came out, I never was like Oh yeah, put on, take care. I know every word to headlines, dude. That song goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It is what it is. It's still good. It's well produced. It's well recorded. It's well written. There's problems with it, but everybody love it. It's a classic.
Yeah, I think Take Care is a classic. I will also put Nothing Was the Same up there. Man is more of a
Absolutely.
personal classic, but Worst Behavior, Pound Cake,
Dude.
yeah, Tuscan Leather, which isn't it wasn't a mixtape, it was a song for the radio, but it was still ridiculous.
The motto.
Yeah, the motto, yeah, it was, which was an issue. Two people saying YOLO
Man.
left and right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has two albums really that could be considered to be classics. Even though out of those two albums, I think if you're reading this is Too Late, it's probably his best of the three I just mentioned.
It is. In Energy, if we were to get the song that could pass my test where you play the people, man, Energy still goes. That's an excellent song.
The next question. Are any of Kanye's second act albums classic? So
Okay.
This is Watch the Throne. Real quick, the idea of second act, this is a thing we do with basketball players. It's like Michael Jordan has like 4 acts. There's UNC Michael Jordan, there's young Michael Jordan, there's like from 89 to 92 when he was just the most ridiculous player of all time. There's second retirement first retirement Michael Jordan when he comes back and wins from 96 to 98. And then there's Bulls Michael Jordan. Or there's a Wizard Michael Jordan, right? 5 different eras, 5 different players, right? Kanye West, I think, has 4, maybe 3 or 4 different acts. There's backpack rap Kanye, which I don't mean that as like some people say that as like a derogatory thing, like he was making backpack rap, but like he was really wearing a backpack. No. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And dude, nah, it was he was getting it. He was barred out.
Yeah. My degrees keep me warm.
Exactly.
So there's backpack rap Kanye, then there's 808s, which changes everything up. And then we get to the second act Kanye. Then there's Manga Hat Kanye, which is 2016 to 2020. And then there's Christian Kanye, which is now, right? Which I don't even know if we consider Christian
it's not
Kanye.
Though. I'm gonna draw a line between Christian Kanye and Nazi Kanye, because Christian Kanye made music and it was hit or miss. I'm gonna be honest with you, but Nazi Kanye don't make no music and he trash. Throw him away. I'm gonna put all of his production. He's got a bunch of work that's nominated for Grammys as a producer or as a featured artist. I'm gonna credit all that to Christian Kanye and we're gonna get the draw line. Nazi Kanye, he done.
But second act Kanye, right? So we have Watch the Throne, Life of Pablo, My Twisted Dark Fantasies, and Yeezus. Are any of those classic albums?
Oh, wait, hold up. That's too many. So run it back.
Watch the Throne first. Is that a classic?
It has to be.
Yeah.
For the monumental collaborative. Is that unprecedented? I think it's unprecedented.
I mean, we had Black Star. That's called Black Star, right?
Okay, that's crazy that we had the same thought. I was thinking Black Star, but Black Star was the premiere of Mos Def and Talib Kweli.
True.
Nobody knew of them before, and so that's like kind of like an outcast kind of thing. It's like, oh man, these guys are so good and they're together and the chemistry is working. Yeah. It's classic. But we never had the stars collide, and also even though Mos Def and Talib are great, they were never Jay-Z and Kanye. I think musically, like their songs, again, they're fantastic, but they're never like as good at making songs as those two guys. And of course, obviously, they're not as popular. And so you got these two guys who were, one's the older brother and one's the little brother, and then they both, the most popular in the game. And then come on now, it's classic. It's classic. Even if it sucked, it'd be a classic. I'll be honest with you.
What about Switching Swords? Is that Redman and Liquid Swords?
No. No, you're thinking that's Jizza with a lot of Inspector Deck and other.
Yeah. Okay.
You're thinking Redman and Method Man, and nah. I'm gonna go ahead and say no. It's not
I guess because Redman he's not Kanye. I mean,
I mean they're a fire dynamic duo, and there's a lot of dynamic duos, but nothing like Watch the Throne. It's a classic.
Yeah, Bad Meets Evil doesn't mean.
It's crazy because the hits on that one, even though like if you played Niggas in Paris, everybody be like,
yeah,
that song ages really poorly, I think. But like No Church in a While and like
Otis.
Yeah. Oh, Otis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
You know, certain songs age very well.
Life of Pablo. Is that a classic?
Nope.
Really? Okay. Yeah. He has like
Real quick, you mentioned Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
That's
Classic.
I'm doing that one next. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Life of Pablo. It gets used a lot on TikTok though. It's if we did TikTok classics, it's a TikTok classic.
I'm not in that world.
Yeah, but it's I don't think it's up there. It's out there with his best of best. My Twisted Dark Fantasy, which I think is not as good as Watch the Throne, or I think it's on par with Life of Pablo. I think is a classic though because of the sounds it was doing ahead of time almost.
Nah, man. Yeah, ahead of time. It was the shape of Kanye to come.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the good songs are like immediate anthems. Like they were just like once they hit, I heard those everywhere. It was inescapable.
Yeah.
And they're not like because it was forward thinking and like wholly unique. So like it set some trends and there's some stuff in it that you can't duplicate. All those still go. Like the opening track, like yeah, I don't know, Monster.
Yeah.
Like with the premiere Nicki verse,
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Who is this?" Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff about that that's just indelible.
It also has Rick Ross's best verse, Gorgeous. Yeah.
That song Gorgeous, he's on Devil in a New Dress.
Devil in a New Dress. Sorry, Rick Ross' best verse is
Yes.
on Devil in a New Dress.
That's not his best verse. Rick Ross, he's got a lot of verses.
I think it's probably, well, he has a good verse on 16, but I think his best verse is on Devil in a New Dress. Anyway, Yeezus. That came out when I was going to Afghanistan. It was about new slaves. What's the other songs? There's a couple of songs on there that were really big hits. Yeah, I just don't know if it's a classic though. Yeezus.
That's interesting because it has aged. That was when he was also kind of ahead of his time a little bit.
Yeah.
Some would disagree, but as far as the mainstream goes, that was a sound that nobody had heard of. He introduced that sound to the mainstream, and it's grown on everybody. When it first dropped, everybody was like, "This is weird. I don't know if I can rock with this." And now, it's in rotation.
Yeah, I mean, Power gets played.
I'm not gonna call it a classic though.
Yeah, Power gets played at Texas A&M games, so it was.
Yeah, maybe in the locker room and in the gym, you get everybody pumped, but not at the kickback. It does not pass that test.
So let's go to some individual albums. Pink Friday by Nicki, her first album. Classic. I think it's a classic. I think it's unarguable. Igor, is that a classic?
Classic in the same way that The Love Below is a classic, because so it's like everybody knows Roses and everybody loves Roses as a track. Everybody knows Earthquake and everybody loves Earthquake. The rest of it may not be popping like that, but it's a landmark joint in the story. Maybe not of hip hop, but of that artist. So I want to give it the classic for me.
Yeah, for me, it's a classic. I own Igor, so for me, it's a classic. It's up there. I just don't know if I was telling the story of hip hop. Do I have to mention it, or is it like there were some rappers who are really just changing the game and doing something different in sound? One of them being Igor, because I don't know which Tyler album I would mention.
It's Flower Boy. That's the one before Igor, where when he goes pop, quote unquote. The music is fantastic. Like that's not like a derogatory goes pop.
Yeah.
But like he stopped all the Eminem stuff where he was like being offensive all the time.
Yeah.
He gets way more. He shows more of his producing chops. It's real melodic and smooth. He got songs for everybody. He got songs for more of the rap nerds. He got more songs for the radio. Songs for hanging out. Yeah, that's the one. I see what you're saying, because Tyler's got to fit in there, and he comes out of the closet, so to speak. It's not like he really doesn't make a big deal about his sexuality, but that's a whole new wave as well that we hadn't mentioned. Is that like in the 2010s you got like gay rappers, which was a literal joke in the previous decade. Like it was on the Boondocks, and it was like that's not even possible. Yeah. But now you got like prominent like queer rappers in the game. So I think Flower Boy is like the point where that, because his music was undeniable, like the pop appeal, everybody in the hip hop scene was feeling it. It's good, and then it's gay. It's like still jams. I don't care. Yeah,
which is funny because Igor to me is much better to me.
It's definitely better, but one is classic.
Yeah. Long Live ASAP. Is that a classic? I feel like I feel like if you're gonna talk about ASAP Rocky, you got to mention him. The question is his first mixtape the purple mixtape? It's called a purple tape. Um,
Yep.
yeah. Some people may say the purple tape because that's when I first heard ASAP. He was doing the Harlem, all that. He's doing a lot of chop and screw stuff. I was like, is he from Houston? But
Yeah.
a lot of chop and screw
Everybody
beats
wanted to
up.
be from Houston for
Yeah.
a second.
But I think that probably may be the classic, or is Long Live ASAP the classic?
Long Live ASAP, I'm gonna give classic because of the quality, the mass appeal. He blew up on that one. Blew up like into the suburbs.
Yeah.
And I think he keeps on with the Houston vibes.
Yeah.
Which respect. Gotta love it. Shout out to Drake as well. But he is a pioneer of what is popping in the 2010s and still even now, which is the psychedelic rap.
Yeah.
So he takes the screwed up, leaned out, and takes it further into the more drugged out space, in like super fun New York ways. Really interesting. It's ASAP.
Yeah. Culture by Migos. Is that a classic?
Ooh. Migos has got a lot of classic material.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's on that album or that album. It may be on that album because Bad and Bougie's on that album.
Yes.
But is that? That's a toughie. That's tough.
I feel like anyone who was in college between 2010 and 2020, they were listening to Migos. And so you got to put a Migos album on there. And I feel like Culture is probably the one that kind of has the most amount of hits on it that was being listened to. So Culture has T-Shirt, Bad and Bougie, Slippery, Brown Bag, and Kelly Price. So it was popping. It came out in January 2017. And so
that's
our entire time of PV, that was the one. Culture 2 is when it really starts to like drop off, but that they didn't pioneer the triple, I guess we'll call it triple
flow.
Yeah, they didn't pioneer the triple flow, but they really like changed the game with their triple flow, and it really comes out in Culture. And it's ridiculous how much you listen to at the kickbacks, at the probates, at everything, right? Here's
the thing. I mean, all that you're saying is true, but I don't think it's on Culture that happens. I think that already happened on Fight Night and Handsome and Wealthy and a bunch of other,
which are mixtapes.
Yeah, mixtape. I mean, but those are the ones that were already at all the parties and the kickbacks. I mean, Migos had been running that circuit for a minute. Versace, honestly, was like the premiere of. It's not the premiere of the flow, like they had been doing that already, but like that's when everybody started like biting. Like I think it's like 2013, 2014. People started biting them crazy.
Yeah.
And then by 2017, I think that they kept rapping like that because that's their style. But that was starting to wane off because it's like, okay, I think people were beginning to wake up to how that doesn't really work. How everybody can't just do the Migos.
Yeah, I think 2018. I think 2017, because 2017 is when Culture comes out. So I think 2018 is when they really started to stop doing it. I mean, Jumpman comes out in 2016, 17. Actually, no, I was just doing Afghanistan. 2015, 16, Jumpman. That's not the album name. It's a Drake and Future album where they do the triple flows on the album together.
I don't know if Jumpman qualifies as that flow, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
that was in 15, by the way. What a Time to Be Alive.
What a Time to Be Alive. Yeah, it was. Which is also not a classic, but ridiculous. Astroworld.
Look, is it? I love that tape, and it's not exactly Watch the Throne, but it's Watch the Throne-ish.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the future in a second. Astroworld, is that a classic?
You know what I'm gonna say? What's the Rodeo? Rodeo is classic. Rodeo is a psychedelic hip hop, just like ASAP. It's the next evolution. It ushered in a whole new era of the psychedelic hip hop, dead center in the decade. Yeah. So ASAP kicked it off, and then the torch got passed to another dark skinned brother with braids.
Which is funny is that a lot of times we talk about these albums, the classic is not the best one of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is probably the one that really gets everybody ingrained, because Astroworld to me is superior to Rodeo.
Absolutely.
But Rodeo is probably the first one when I heard him. I was like, what is this? What's the sound? What is this? This is ridiculous. Yeah. Are any of Future's albums classic? So he has too many to name, but there's the one that has March Madness on it, which is what 26
Dirty
Nights.
Sprite 2.
The Dirty Sprite 2. There's What a Time to Be Alive, him and Drake. I mean, it's just a bunch of feature works that are up there.
Honest from 2014 is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which one you do. Do you just do the first one, which is
Dirty Sprite.
Dirty Sprite, basically, yeah.
Dirty Sprite 2, 2015, March Madness.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of tracks on there. Stick Talk, undeniable. There, and I think that's honestly because Future's not an album artist. I don't think that's really a secret. It's not an insult. And he does have, I think there's other albums of his that are really good, but that I recognize that that's a personal take. I just like what he's got going on.
Yeah.
And but for classic, Dirty Sprite 2, if anything he's done is classic, then that's the one.
Invasion of Privacy, Cardi B's first studio album. That song, what's called Bodak Yellow.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. It was everywhere. You could not escape it.
Yeah.
2017, 2018. It was ridiculous. I know it word for word. I didn't like that song that much, right? But if you put it on, I can rap it with you, right? I think it probably has to be considered a classic. It also went platinum 3 or 4 times.
Invasion of Privacy is a diamond album, actually.
Oh, diamond album. My bad. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Diamond. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's the how well she did. And I think women kind of starved for it. And it really was because Nicki's next album after Pink Friday, Pink Print 2, was good, but wasn't the same as Pink Friday. I think women were ready for the next one to come that was going to be as braggadocious, as misogynistic, as it's everything you want from a future
misandrous.
Misandrous? That's the word we're using?
Yeah, misogynistic is against women. Misandry is against dudes.
I guess, yeah, misandrous. So it's as misandrous,
yeah,
as thugged out, as mean. It's got all the feelings of a Future album, a Drake album. It comes with it. Are any Young Thug albums classic?
Nah. I don't like Thug. I never did. Take. So that's really easy for me to say no.
I think so. I think at least one of them have to be considered a classic because he really like changed the game with the mumble rap.
I don't believe it.
I think so. The game changed when he had My Lifestyle. When Lifestyle came out in 2014,
that's Rich Gang.
Changed. Yeah, that's Rich Gang.
That's him and Rich Homie Quan. And I don't understand the beef there. I don't really care. Yeah. But I liked them as a pair. And then when he got on his own, I couldn't get with it. I never could get with Young Thug. He has a lot of songs that are important. His production choices and his rapping style are influential. But I think everything, hot take, I think everything he does. By the way, I don't think Invasion of Privacy is a classic. Let me just go ahead and say that. It's very popular, but I think it's just like of the time. I think it's like the Spice Girls.
I don't know. I feel like the Spice Girls, I think that's some people have that's fighting words. Some people that you put on the same level.
Bro, don't play the Spice Girls right now and piss everybody off. Unless it's a bunch of jaded millennials, nobody finna get down with that.
No,
it doesn't stand the test of time.
I'm saying fighting words that you put Cardi B on the same level as the Spice Girls. Like that's so low. I put her higher up. I think she's at least
I think it's the same. I think her raps, like it's all good. It's all good. It's like Drake, but like his less classic stuff. Like it truly doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same impact as the stuff that we're talking about. When you're talking about the story of hip hop, and you wanted to put a mark on the late aughts rise of women, I guess you have to talk about it because it's a diamond selling record. Yeah, but I would talk about Fever by Meg,
which comes out,
or Tina Snow by Meg. Like that's where it's like, oh, the game is changing. And I'm partial because we're from the same city, is what it is.
Yeah.
But those are better. Tina Snow and Fever are better than what's it called? Invasion of Privacy.
I think Invasion of Privacy has to be a classic. I mean, it's the first time for me that, not for me, it's the first time I think that you can go to a studio executive and be like, because even Missy had to like fight for every one of her albums to be like, I can make a platinum selling album. But you can go to a record executive now and be like, did you see Invasion of Privacy? Sell diamond level, you can do this now. You can give a woman a label deal.
But that's just the commercial appeal, man. Drake, one of Drake's most popular joints is Views. Views sucks. It's not a classic. I'll never give it that. It's incredibly popular. More Life got spins. More Life is a piece of trash. You know what I'm saying? The popularity game is easier to play when, as it happened in the 2010s and late 2010s, rap became the predominant genre of Americans. But a lot of garbage was on the top. It just happens like that.
Okay, so I think you have the same argument for Young Thug that you have Invasion of Privacy. That's
look, you see what I did there?
I think Invasion of Privacy is a classic. I think you got to talk about it. I think Young Thug has to get mentioned. I think, because people were talking about mumble rap and the first name out their mouth was Young Thug. And it was people were talking about a lot. There was op-eds about the mumble rap. Yeah. So I think Young Thug has to get mentioned. I just don't know which album I would use.
Future's the first mumbler I heard when he recorded Tony Montana while high on DMT or something, and his mouth was shut.
Yes,
because of reaction to the drug. So yeah, it's like that. Future's the real pioneer in all the worst and in all the best ways.
A couple more. 1999 is that a classic? That's Jody B. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's a classic.
How old is he? Was he 18?
He was a teenager.
He was a teenager, so yeah.
16, 17, it's ridiculous. 18, something like that.
Yeah. I think it's gotta get talked about. At least you're talking about the mixtapes in the 2010s.
Yeah. And then a mixtape that was bringing back an older style, real just roots New York classic, quote unquote, 90s hip hop style. But it was fresh and new. The kids actually listened to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Slaughterhouse or nothing. That's just for rap nerds.
Yeah. I mean, it was people were saying, and it was probably blasphemous at the time, that he was going to be Nas, that he was going to be the next Nas.
They were wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, his ability to rap though on 1999 made you think, am I listening?
1999 is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but listen to the next Nas. Yeah, Coloring Book by Chance.
Acid Rap's the classic.
Yeah, I think Acid Rap's a classic. Yeah.
And see, this we're running into this problem again, where Acid Rap is where the impact was made. Coloring Book is where the money was made. That's when he really blew up. But this is kind of like ASAP with the Purple Tape, where one of them was for us, and one of them was for the Burbs.
Yeah,
one of them was for Klein High School.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just real. Because Chance, I remember at high school, all of the black kids was and I was in high school when that dropped, 2013. And we were all talking about it and we were all on it, but it wasn't getting played at the school dance. But I'm sure, when I was in college, 2016, when Chance dropped, what's it called? No Problems. Yeah. I'm sure they got played at the high school dance. I'm positive.
Are any of the RTJ albums classics?
Ooh, Run the Jewels, yo. Every Run the Jewels album is a classic. I said it first. Bro,
I think that may be personal bias though. I don't know if you got to tell the story of hip hop and mention RTJ.
RTJ 2 is the best one. That's a classic. It's impactful. And when you talk about political raps, I think they're the absolute best in our era. Everybody like Kendrick, but really biting smart, wise because they're older commentary. Yeah. It made Killer Mike a household name. Not Killer Mike is somebody people know.
Yeah.
He's got Twitter fingers, but he's also an excellent rapper, and that's where people really got to know Killer Mike as like I said, a household name. He really blew up off of that stuff, and I think especially now in the era of old man rap, because rap is aging.
Yeah,
a bunch of people died in the 90s, but a lot of people survived, and he's he's down with Outkast. He's Dungeon Family, so he's a late 90s, early aughts, as a young man, but he survived to get older and get better. And a bunch of other rappers are like that. Method Man's still rapping. He's still great. Tribe put out a late album. That's great. De La Soul, there's just quite a few who are still good at it. And I think, Mike is NLP, obviously, are the first ones to be yeah, man, old people can rap and it can be fun and not corny.
Yeah. Does any of Mac Miller's albums get put on classic status?
That's tough, man. That's tough.
I mean, for the Burbs, there was
for the Burbs.
For the Burbs, Mac Miller was
classic.
Classic. He's one of the best
kids.
Yeah,
Blue
rappers.
Slide. It's all classic.
I actually own Kids. Blue Side Park is another one that's great. And then Macadelic is also very good. But then he changes up the game, goes to those circles, and then what's the one, the pink cover? Which one's that? What's that one called?
The Divine Feminine.
Yeah. So he changed up the whole game. He goes from college snapback rap to a different sound, you know.
Yeah, that happened on watching TV with the sound off.
Yes, which I think
crazy because he
like
he plummeted in. I think I really don't know the numbers, but those first few we mentioned that were like, you know, the white kid raps.
Yeah.
Huge hits, slamming, made him, you know, the household name, blah, blah, blah. Watching music with the sound off, Good AM, Into the Divine Feminine, like those were albums like for music listeners. No radio play, no MTV as far as I know. Like, yeah, it's interesting because this is his best work. Circles is the posthumous one, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's tough. I don't know. Mac is definitely impactful, but I don't know where to put him as far as a classic.
I think it's Kids. I think Kids is really it's a mixtape. I guess it's almost a mixtape slash studio album, and I just remember when I heard it for the first time, it was a white guy who wasn't trying to sound like Eminem, basically, and that was really like it's weird to say that was important, but that was kind of important that it was a white guy not trying to sound like Eminem. And it wasn't like Machine Gun Kelly, who I'm not going to mention having any classic albums because no. Though he has one, he does have a bar that I think is one of the best one. He says, "I want to know what God you worship so I can know who you about to go see," which is a bar on Alpha and Omega. But for some reason, he just never goes bars out. He goes bars out every now and then, but then we'll just forget the rest of the rest of the album. Yeah. But I think Kids is the one you put up there. You're gonna give Mac a classic album. I think Kids is the one you put up there. But if we were doing a documentary, it's a 5-minute departure from the main course, basically.
Yeah.
Should we consider Post Malone Stoney? No. It went 5 times. It went 6 times platinum.
That's another one of those when the pop is popping. And I don't hate Post Malone.
Yeah.
But when the pop, like he does what ASAP and Travis Scott are doing hardcore. He did it watered down. And Future's also in the lineage.
Yeah.
Future does a lot of different things. But he also made a lot of psychedelic, you know, really drugged out stuff. And at the same time that these guys are doing, you know, pioneering like new sounds, new dope stuff, Post Malone just felt like he was doing the suburban version of it. And I can't get with it. It's not classic.
Yeah. You know, White Iversons was everywhere. It still just wasn't for me.
Look, I don't hate Post Malone. It's some jams in there, but it's never important.
Yeah.
I don't feel like any of his stuff is important.
Old Time Road by Lil Nas X becomes the most streamed song ever. Does that album get mentioned as a classic?
We talking pop. You talking Billboard. You're not talking The Source.
Logic went platinum several times. Does he get a classic album?
I like the good Logic stuff. I like 40% of Logic's albums.
So
ain't
like
nothing in there classic.
Under Pressure? Is Under Pressure not a classic?
You can tell the story. You can, first off, I've never been in a place where I can play Logic out loud. I played Logic on the speaker one time, freshman year. We sitting around, dudes just playing 2K, wasting time. I'm tired of hearing Dirty Sprite. It's been on repeat. I was like, bro, let me hop on the aux. They was like, all right, let's see what Irvin got. They already knew I was a square. I'm the square one. And I said, Bounce by Logic. It's a good song. I like that song. It's got a heavy bass. I was like, this might be something they could appeal to. And once they heard his voice, they said, is that Logic? Burst into laughing. Clowned. Immediately, I got clowned. No, it's never. Logic cannot be classic in any real respect. I mean, he's influential. No, he's not influential. He's just good. He's just talented. And sometimes he applies that talent and sometimes he doesn't. And I like his stuff. I still spin his stuff, but no.
I mean, Under Pressure, the song is probably his best song he has. And I really like that one. I have 4 automatic classics, then we wrap up. Good Kid, Mad City. No debate. Don't talk to me about it. To Pimp Butterfly. No debate. Acid Rap is one of the ones I had on automatic classic.
Oh, okay.
I think there's no debate. I think 2014 Forest Hill Drives is no debate. And it's a classic. I think it
passes all of our tests. So I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah. Though I don't have Damn on here as a classic.
It ain't.
Yeah. It's
even though it's Pulitzer. it broke new ground, and it's still not up there.
Yeah, it's not as good. Yeah. And I don't think his last album would be. I don't think
No,
his last album would be considered a classic either.
don't nobody, bro. We were we were in the public transportation van, basically. It's the best way I can describe it. I'm in Africa, so we got different names for stuff, but we're in a public transport van. They usually play all kind of African Swazi gospel, because you know it's real agreeable. Everybody like gospel music,
Right?
It's good Christian music. You can play around anybody. And I guess it was just on Homeboy's phone. It was on shuffle. We Cry Together came on.
No, that's not.
Everybody in the vehicle started looking around.
Yeah.
And it quickly got switched. You cannot play that around anybody. Nobody wants to hear the new Kendrick.
We don't have any 2 Chainz albums. We don't have any Playboi Carti albums. We don't have any.
You said no Playboy?
We don't have any Playboi Carti albums.
I think his first one is pretty good.
Is it a classic?
Dial-It.
You think so?
It's more of a, and I could be, you know, in error here, but it feels like a more of a Gen Z classic. But it's definitely like, it's huge, it's good, especially at the party for people born like 1998, 1999 or later. Let's say it like that. That one goes. It's good.
Any 21 Savage's albums that should be classics. The first one, I think, may be considered a classic, though I think his last one is the one I like his one before last is the one I like the best. That has a lot on it.
Yeah, that's tough, man. 21's the guy, but you know, some rappers, they're not album people. And even though 21 has put together some nice bodies of work, none of them have had, as a body of work, that kind of impact. I think Issa, I don't know if that's his first or what. That was a pretty big one, 2016.
Yeah.
It's tough. I don't know, because that's not really me. That's not my taste. So I don't know how to speak on it. But I know he's got a lot of tracks that people love.
Any 2 Chainz albums seem classic. I think True Story should be considered a classic.
That's the one. I'm different.
Yeah, I think that should be considered. Like, it was so big that the drill sergeants played "I'm Different" in basic training. That's how big that was. Yeah. Let's see. Look, 2 last ones. Any Little Uzi Vert album should be classics.
It's like Lil Uzi versus the World or whatever.
Yeah, is the first one?
P's and Q's on it.
Yeah.
Man. Classic.
Any Juice WRLD. The Juice WRLD's album has won. I mean, his album he made when he was living. So that won't be considered a classic. Yeah,
Juice WRLD actually, he was really grinding. He was putting out like a lot of work. Yeah, but I think that's part of the whole SoundCloud rapper era, is that like and because that's like the nature of streaming, albums really isn't the name of the game. That's why you get the 2-minute songs. Dudes dropping singles out of nowhere that may or may not land on an album. So I don't know about Juice WRLD, and I don't know his discography like that, but I can't think of any single body of work.
I think his song, what's his song, Lucid Dreams. That is a classic song. That song we got to mention. We're talking about the story of hip hop in 2010s.
Yeah, the melodic rap.
Yeah, the melodic rap. Level. Yeah, the press rap, as I call it. Yeah. Triple X. We mentioned him, but we didn't say any of his albums are classics. I think he has the same thing Lil Uzi Vert and Juice WRLD has, that they produce a lot of work that are not like album material, basically. I mean,
again, I think Uzi versus the World or whatever it was called.
Yeah,
class. I think so. Maybe Love Is Rage 1. Also, that's huge. And then X has the one with the question mark on the cover. I don't know. I don't listen to X. I'm being straight out. You know, it's not for me. But talking about impactful, it's huge, man.
Yeah.
And I think there is good music on there. It's just, you know, I'm not putting it in rotation.
I mean, Sad is is one of his. It popped up once he died, but it's very good. I like the song Sad. We didn't mention any Wiz or Big Sean albums. They were huge. They sold a lot.
Only Nigga in First Class. That's classic. That's classic.
Which one was that? That's Wiz, right?
Yeah, that's the one where he's sitting in the throne. He got his royal. He got like a leopard skin or something. I don't know.
Again, another basic training album. It got played a lot. Yeah. No Big Sean albums.
Track practice.
Yeah. No Big Sean albums.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I actually like I Decided. I think it's pretty good. It works. I think it marks a subtle change in Big Sean. Big Sean's made to me some of the most radio friendly, big pop artists. That's undeniable. But some of the most immature music possible. Like, Drake's like always like whining and stuff. But like Big Sean sounds like he's whining about women, but like he's 15 while he's doing it. It blows my mind. It's so gross. But I decided it is a bit more grown up in that respect. And I think his latest album, Detroit 2, is better. Like, it's his best, but it's not as popular. So I don't know. It's really tough.
The women love Big Sean. I would say that the women love to play Big Sean's music.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
When we were at PV, the only time I heard Big Sean on the aux, if it was a woman playing music on the aux, Big Sean got played. And I was like, because I was trying to decide who listens to Big Sean. Why is he so
Who put this on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Gambino? Is it because of the internet a classic?
Okay. Then you got a whole different land of classics. Then you're opening up a whole different can of worms, whereas the internet is a whole new scene. Because the internet, it's not on the college campus. It's not at the parties. It's none of that.
Yeah.
But on the back in the days of Tumblr, RIP Tumblr, on Tumblr, on Instagram, which I guess is the predecessor, or rather the successor. Yeah, man, it's huge. It's kind of like as important as I would say Blonde is, because a lot of those new SoundCloud and independent cats are really like modeling the ideas, these huge ideas that Frank Ocean and Tyler and Gambino were working out, and Chance were working out back then, and now they're all coming to fruition.
We didn't mention Big Mill. I think Jesus
Get him out of here.
I think that first Dreams Nightmares song is a classic song.
Yes, it is.
I think like for the next 20 years, you can play that song, and we can all rap the beginning of that.
Dream
song.
Chasers won.
Yeah,
everybody liked Dream Chasers.
But I don't know if it's a classic. I don't know if it's like I gotta mention. If you tell the story of 2010s in hip hop, Meek Mill gets mentioned once he gets dissed by Drake. That's when he comes up.
Ooh. That hurt.
It hurts. But I think that's when if you only have like an hour or like 2 hours, Ken Burns documentary, 2 hours, you tell the story of hip hop in the 2010s. You're like, then Drake releases back to back. It's ridiculous. It's one of the best diss songs from the 2010s. Yeah. And it's just, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm gonna leave you with this. We didn't mention like any Jay-Z solo albums. And we didn't mention any Eminem solo albums.
Jay-Z didn't drop except for 2014. And Magna Carta. Everybody hates Magna Carta, so you don't even mention that.
He dropped, what's it called?
444 is what I meant to say.
444. Yeah. Which classic? No. It's good. It's ridiculous.
Like Run the Jewels is a huge marker in like old man rap.
Yeah.
Because it's and I love like old man, grown man, whatever you want to call it. Like I have a wife and kids rappers. Because they know it's no traps, it's no bandos. I'm not pulling up on nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Work. But I didn't piss her off. And I gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a real regular, relatable, and they're trying to dispense some wisdom. Like, bonds. Diversify your portfolio, I like those kind of raps.
We didn't mention Eminem Recovery, which came out in 2012.
Stop it.
I mean, it's one him and Rihanna's song Monster was one of the biggest songs of 2 years. It would be
Eminem has 3 classic albums. He has a classic era.
Yeah.
He has a classic era.
But what I'm just saying, if rap heads listen to this, we didn't mention Eminem at all, and they're like, where's M? You didn't talk about M?
Yeah, dude, Recovery trash, bro. I'm talking about Age Like Milk.
I think Marshall Mathers 2, LP2 is pretty good though. I think
it has some interesting stuff on it.
Yeah.
You already know. It's just it never could be what it once was.
Yeah, it's just because he stopped doing drugs, and unfortunately, he's just not the same person.
That's not what that is. He old and he don't listen to nobody because he's the best selling artist in recorded music. You can't tell him nothing.
Yeah, of hip hop music, the best recorded artist of hip hop music. I think he also
who is. I think he's the best selling artist ever. Is he not?
Did he outsold Michael Jackson? I don't think he outsold Michael Jackson,
dude. Because the trailer park never stopped. They never stopped spinning him. They never stopped.
Yeah, the white sergeants in the army. Eminem got listened to all
Friday
the
Night
time.
Lights?
Yeah.
They not listening to J. Cole.
Yeah.
Listen
Till the music stops. Yeah.
Still.
All right.
Till I collapse.
Yeah.
Come on now, dude.
I guess have we had? So let me ask this last question before we end. Have we had any classic albums of the 2020 so far?
Ooh. Oh. Stop making noises. Is the off-season classic? I don't know. I was listening to it today, and I love that album. Off-season, right to J. Cole. That's his best work to me. Wow, wonderful. Call Me If You Get Lost. Grammy winning. Tyler doing his thing. Victory Lap. I don't know if it's a classic. Probably not, honestly. I mean, yeah. I love these projects.
Yes.
Pandemic work.
Yeah.
But also tough.
I think
somebody dropped a classic. I don't know, man.
I think Meg dropped the classic though. Of Sugar is the classic, one of the classics of the 2010s.
Hip-hop.
I mean,
the game slowed down for a minute, so the game is still waking up, and I'm gonna give them time.
Yeah,
for people to because people couldn't tour and all that, so people were really slow with the music.
Yeah, I will say my favorite song of the 2010 so far, 2020 so far, is probably "Seeing Green" by Nicki, Drake, and Lil Wayne.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, check me out. Toby and Wigwag, you already know I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, he's gonna drop. He's gonna
drop a classic. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
And he not really an albums guy because of his independent, YouTube. It's the internet streaming. I get it. That's the hustle. So all of his highlights are like a few tracks on the work, but I think it's coming. I think the classic album is coming. Yeah, he's on the Grammys now, best new artist. My man about to sit down with DJ Premier or something like that. I don't know. And it's on the way.
We haven't talked about Nas's King Disease. I think it's up there, but it's old man rap again. It's it's like Archie. Yeah. It's up there. Yeah. All right, my name is Swans Brown.
Irvin Bryant.
Peace.